Carl Edwards to the 5? He's leaving the door open. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. We are a week away from the dual races at Daytona, less than a week away from Daytona 500 pole qualifying next Wednesday night. Daytona, Daytona, Daytona. You're going to hear that name a lot over the next 10 days. Just brace yourself. We've got some new look Daytona 500 paint schemes to react to today. Oh my goodness. A new look Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang for Joey Logano. Well, new to NASCAR, I should say, because when I saw this image, I was trying to figure out, where have I seen this before? And then it hit me. Joseph Newgarden won the Indianapolis 500 last year in a very similar livery. I love that Roger Penske, who has won and accomplished so much in the world of motorsports, he's just creating new records to set, new challenges. He's looking around like, hey, has anyone ever won the Indy 500 and Daytona 500 back-to-back in the same paint scheme? No? All right, let's do it. We'll be the first. That's what's on the line if Joey Logano can win the Daytona 500. It would be 10 years since his first Daytona 500 victory in 2015. I like this paint scheme if they want to use it for like big crown jewel races. The yellow roof number with the red backdrop looks really, really nice. I actually like Joey's traditional yellow Shell Pennzoil scheme. I know a lot of folks find it boring. I find it consistent. It's easy to pick Joey Logano out of the pack on Sunday because you know what paint scheme to look for. Nowadays, HendrickCars.com, Ally, Bass Pro Shops this year are some of the only full season sponsors still in the sport. Other teams, other drivers are swapping colors every week. There's no consistency. We don't have many iconic paint schemes anymore. I would argue the traditional Shell Pennzoil colors are pretty iconic. So if they want to run this red looking scheme on the big races, I think that's cool. But I actually like the consistent yellow every other week. That's just me. And speaking of consistency, FedEx may be gone, but Denny Hamlin's National Debt Relief Daytona 500 scheme looks similar. They're really committing to that design, the way the 11 on the door is framed. I like this scheme. This is one of Denny's new partners. Deal came together in just the past couple of weeks. 4-race deal, including the Daytona 500. Red, white, and blue. Nice. Great American race. It's on brand, on theme. I appreciate that. I know Denny Hamlin and sponsorship has been a hot topic the past couple of weeks, ever since they rolled up to Bowman Gray with a mostly blank team hauler. Last night I was actually on a live stream and had the chance to talk to Joe Gibbs Racing's Director of Partnerships, Nicholas Caldwell, and he had some, I would say, encouraging words for concerned Denny Hamlin fans.
I know Twitter had a field day with this hauler this weekend, but you know what I would say to that is, just because it's not on the hauler yet doesn't mean we don't have announcements coming.
Look, I wouldn't keep bringing up this topic if I didn't think it was potentially a legitimate story. Denny Hamlin's contract status beyond this year is not public information. Denny Hamlin is an industry veteran, 3-time Daytona 500 champ, future Hall of Famer. He commands a hefty salary. Finding sponsors, an anchor partner to support Denny is a challenge. I said this last week, but there's a reason Bass Pro Shops can afford to sponsor every Chase Briscoe race, but could only do 2/3 of Martin Truex Jr.'s schedule. Chase Briscoe, not a past champion, much lower salary. I think it's safe to assume. Denny Hamlin's salary is up here, and when you have FedEx footing the bill for 20 years, sponsors like Mavis Tire stepping up the past couple of seasons, when those anchors disappear, it's a challenge to piece together a full schedule for a driver that commands the kind of salary Denny Hamlin commands. It's kind of like in stick and ball sports. If you spend $60 million a year on the quarterback, it's difficult to fill in the positions around him. Like I've been saying, though, I'm not too worried about Denny Hamlin this year. If he starts the year off strong, contends for some wins, locks into the playoffs early, I think the business stuff will fall into place. But this does continue to be a story. Fans continue to debate and discuss. I will leave it there for the time being. Let's talk about Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards will be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame tomorrow, I believe, Friday. Last week, Kyle Larson suggested Carl Edwards should drive his number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevy during All-Star race practice later this year. Larson put it out there, said, hey, I've talked to Jeff Gordon, talked to Cliff Daniels, hey, maybe we can make something happen. So naturally, Carl Edwards was asked by Fox reporter Bob Pockrass about Larson's comments, and Carl said, quote, it's an honor. Larson's one of the fastest guys to ever drive these cars, and for him to say that, I don't know if he's messing with me. I'm very likely to crash a car if I was to get in one right now. Carl Edwards did say that he felt he would have to do some sim work first before driving an actual car, even in practice, but he didn't exactly say no.
It's never a total no. I like options, but I don't know. I'd say, yeah, it's no for now, but I'd drive a sim and check it out.
Carl is great, and I think it's good that he has embraced the racing industry the past couple of years. We've seen him at the racetrack more, doing more media appearances like this. I don't think Carl realized at the time what he was creating when he decided to retire suddenly at the beginning of 2017. Carl was in his prime, just weeks removed from contending for a NASCAR Cup Series championship. The moment he decided to step away in his prime, he created this hypothetical version of himself that fans continue to debate and discuss today. What if Carl had kept racing? He almost won the title in 2011, almost won it in 2016. He was in his prime with a great team. The what if, in some ways, overshadowed what Carl Edwards actually did during his racing career. Carl had a great career. I mean, there's a reason he's being voted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but there's also a reason it took him, 4 or 5 years? Let me see, he retired in 2016 or announced it in 2017, so he would have been eligible by 2020? Had to wait until 2025. He has a Hall of Fame worthy resume, but clearly he left some wins, maybe even a championship, on the table. Nobody faults him for doing that. He had his reasons. He's at peace with his decision, seems to be living his best life. I'm proud of him for embracing life the way he has, but that what if, again, has become almost a greater talking point than what actually happened when Carl Edwards was on the track. I don't think Carl realized in 2017 what he was creating when he chose to step away the way he did. Either way, it's awesome that he's closer to the sport once again. It would be really cool to see him drive the Hendrick Motorsports number 5, even just for a practice session or two. Though it would be cooler if it led to him actually running a race at some point, even just like an Xfinity Series race. Casey Kane, about the same age as Carl, retired around the same time. Casey Kane's coming back to race The Rock in a few months. As fun as it would be for Carl Edwards to make some practice laps, it would be cooler if it actually led to something. I think the comeback window for Carl Edwards is closing. It's not closed. He's only 45 years old, but there's a gap there he could slip through. I hope he does it, but I'm not positive he will. It was cool last year when Kevin Harvick got back in the car, Hendrick Motorsports for, the North Wilkesboro practice sessions. But, what made that cool is the fact that Harvick was able to take what he learned, the firsthand experience, and he was able to communicate that during the Fox broadcast. He was truly an on-the-ground reporter working with Cliff Daniels, some of the top guys in the sport, and he could then pass that knowledge along to all the fans watching at home. Carl Edwards isn't on TV. He's not doing radio, doesn't have a podcast. If he's going to practice Larson's car, I hope it leads to something bigger. It'd be cool, sure, in a vacuum, but we're talking about practice at the end of the day. Anyway, I know I keep repeating myself, but it is cool to see Carl Edwards close to the sport once again. Remember, there was a 5 or 6 year span there where we rarely heard from Carl Edwards. We didn't even know if he was alive. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but seriously, he was practically off the grid. You would hear occasional stories like, didn't he sail across the Atlantic Ocean or something? I feel like I remember reading that he was helping with different humanitarian efforts. The man would just show up. Didn't he try to run for political office, or did I make that up? That's what I'm saying. Somehow The legend of Carl Edwards goes far beyond what he actually did during his 10, 12-year NASCAR Cup Series career. Going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame this weekend. That's awesome. Anyway, let me know your reaction to Carl's comments about driving the 5. What'd you think of Logano and Hamlin's new Daytona 500 paint schemes? Leave a comment down below. Leave a like while you're down there. Subscribe for more NASCAR content every single day. Thanks to my Patreon supporters. Have a great rest of your day, y'all. I will see you again real soon.